Hello, welcome to the Matthew Alton Art channel again. I'm doing something unusual today. I'm planning to go out and do some plein air painting or sketching in a local park. I live in Coventry, so I'm planning to head over to the Memorial Park and do some sketching. I've packed up my Etcher Slate Mini, which is sort of like a hard-backed bag that you can put all your stuff in. So I've packed that full of stuff. I've got a sketch pad here. I've got another sketch pad in the bag part of it. Some watercolour paper there and just a normal sketchbook. A5, I think that sketchbook is. I've put a palette in here that I've topped up with some gouache paints. I tend to sort of reactivate dried gouache paints when I'm using them. So you can see here I've got the colours that I need or might need and a mixing palette there. I've got some ink pens, fine line ink pens, which I've been using recently to do some sketching. Some water-filled brushes. These are to save me taking any water with me, really. They're very handy for sort of outdoor quick sketching. A couple of normal brushes, some pencils, mechanical pencils there. And that's it, really. That's all I'm going to take. So it's not something I do normally. I get a bit anxious about painting in front of people or sketching in front of people, but with this I can just sit with it on my lap on a bench or something and not be too obvious anyway. That's the plan anyway. So I'll post from the location when I've walked over there. I'm going to go on a walk, really. The point of today is a walk rather than a sketch, but we'll see how much sketching we get done. So I'll see you later. On the walk over to the Memorial Park, I'd sort of decided that I would focus on the actual memorial at the centre of the park itself, because I've found in the past when you go out plein air painting, having a focus on what you actually want to paint, there's so much out there that you could paint, having a focus is difficult. It's difficult to find a specific subject. So I'd sort of taken that out of the equation and I headed towards the middle of the park. And on the walk up to the memorial, the side that I was walking up, it was all in shadow, so that wasn't very good. And it was sort of silhouetted with the sun behind it. So I sort of moved round the memorial and took another path off so that I could look back at the memorial, where there was a sunlit side and a shaded side to add some depth to it. But I sort of wanted to be a bit nearer to the subject. I struggled to sit on the ground, and also the ground was pretty wet. It's been very wet spring in the UK, so I didn't want to sit on the ground anyway. I tried standing briefly and sort of resting on that square plinth in front of the memorial, but that was too close to it, so I was sort of very much looking up at it from there. So I sort of wanted to be able to sit somewhere between there and where I ended up, which is the view that you can see here of the memorial. But of course, when you're relying on benches to sit down on, it's not very easy, really, and they're not facing the right direction. So it was quite uncomfortable, really. I couldn't sit on the bench with my back leaning up the backrest. I sort of had to sit lengthwise on the bench. So relying on benches for when you plein air painting isn't really the way to go, I think, really. And on reflection after today, I've decided that next time I go with my Etcher Slate Mini, I will try and take the camera tripod as well, because I can attach it to a camera tripod to sort of make it like a bit of an easel, really, and paint on the actual hard surface of the bag itself, really. So standing might be the way forward from that point of view. This is the actual sketch that I did using the gouache paint pencil, and I'm not really happy with it because it's not the full scene, and that's something else I struggle with plein air painting, actually translating what I see in front of me to the rectangular piece of paper that I've got in front of me is quite difficult. And also you're sort of overwhelmed with everything that's in the scene that you're facing. So I decided sort of just to concentrate on the actual memorial itself, and I ended up just doing the top, just as a bit of exercise of me trying to sit outside and plein air paint or draw, to try and get used to it. And it was quite a complicated subject, really, in that the sort of perspective on it with all those columns of stone at the top were quite difficult to replicate, really. But if in terms of getting a representation of the top of the memorial, that's fine. But I sort of really wanted to do the whole memorial, and I was limited because the paper I'd taken was so small. I would want a big piece of paper to fit the whole thing in, really, with the trees, that sort of thing. But again, that's the plein air problem, in that you're not going to have a massive piece of paper or medium to draw on, because you want to keep it light and easy to carry. So I very much struggle with that sort of what to fit on the paper, and everything's a bit small, really. And when you're using small pieces of paper, I certainly couldn't have done the detail on this memorial on the small piece of paper if I'd sort of fitted the whole thing in. So on the whole, I wasn't very satisfied with my efforts, and I gave up after this 40-minute sketch of the Moore Memorial. And it got me reflecting on other experiences I've had of plein air painting, and how I really struggle with it, really. And I'd like to be able to do some plein air drawing, but I struggle with, is it the equipment? Is it the setup? Is it the comfort of it? I don't know. On this video, I've actually included some clips of me working last year, using the same Etch a Slate Mini. So let's have a look at those. So this is me using the Etch a Slate Mini on a bench again, last June, I think. We went to a National Trust property and tried to do a bit of plein air sketching then again. And you can sort of see how I'm sitting on the bench. It's quite uncomfortable again. So I'm sort of sitting corners on, because what I'm drawing isn't sort of straight in front of the bench, and you can't really move the bench to suit you as you're drawing. And I'm holding with one hand the actual Etch a Slate Mini up, so I can sort of use it as an easel angle, and I'm just drawing while looking at the reference. But it's not comfortable for me. And if I was painting, at least I've got the bench here to put the paints on and those sorts of things. But it's really difficult. It's not easy at all. And because of that difficulty and the discomfort, I suppose, that's why this is what I ended up with that session, an unfinished painting again. So I didn't finish the wall that was sort of going across the church here, with lots of flowers and bushes and things up against it, because of the discomfort again. So sort of another failed attempt, really. And I'm really beginning to despair, I think, of if I'm ever going to be able to do this plein air painting. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try, and as I said earlier in the video, I'm going to try and go out with a tripod next time. But even if I do that, then where do I put the paints? Because the tripod will be holding the bag, and I've got the pad there on top, so I've got something to lean on or whatever. But where do you put the paint to mix them and stuff? It's just totally unsatisfactory to me somehow. The only other time that I've been out in the last couple of years was I went along to a Coventry Sketchers group, a local group, where they go into the city and sort of meet up for a drink and then go off and do some sketching, and then meet up again at the end of the day or the session and compare the work that we've created. So these two pencil sketches were done again. I took the Etch a Slate Mini with me then, and I just sat and on a bench for the first one, I think, which was in the cathedral, the ruined cathedral. And in Lady Herbert's Gardens, I did one of the old gatehouses to the walled city of Coventry in medieval times. And they're fine, but again, I took only pencils this time because I couldn't contemplate taking all the other equipment with me, like paints and tripods and that sort of thing. So these are fine, but they're not really good pieces of work. I watch YouTube videos of people plein air painting, and they take all their oil paints with them and their easels and all that sort of thing. And I don't really want to do that, but I do want to be able to do plein air painting. So the point of this video really is to say that I'm really struggling with plein air painting, as you can see from the results that I've got on the odd occasion that I've been brave enough to try again. And I would sort of like people to give me some tips about how I can improve the experience, I suppose, really. So do write some comments and let me know if you are a plein air painter, how you do it. I'd be really interested to know. I think from my own reflections while I've been making this video, I think I need to take a tripod to put the bag on. I also could look out. I've got two pochard, wooden pochard boxes. One is just too big and too heavy, so I wouldn't use that one. But another, I've got a smaller one that I could try and set that up as a sort of proper easel. But I also need to probably try standing up, which of course with the easel will make that easier rather than sit down on a bench somewhere for comfort. But standing up probably will be better from a painting experience. So if anybody's got any tips, then do comment and let me know. I would like to learn how to do it better, really. Okay, I think that's it for this video. It's sort of here to show that not everything goes as you want it to go when you're learning to paint. And it certainly isn't going that way from my point of view, from a plein air painting point of view. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're a regular here, then do think about liking the video if you did. And if you're new here, then please think about subscribing. That would be really great and help the channel out. Okay, well, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much. Bye.